Here is my latest little fun project. I am making some new Newlon dies. So, I had a bunch of Newlon dies, not a bunch, but I had a few Newlon dies about a year ago, and then they were in a couple calibers that I was using at the time, and then when I got rid of those calibers, I sold the dies along with my other stuff with the brass and all that. So I have been absent of my Newlon dies for a little while now. So with the pandemic and everything, it was a little harder to get them. It's been a little easier to get them now. In fact, I think he shipped in about a week and a half, so that's great. But let me show you what I've got and how this works. So when you order from Newlon, the guy is super nice. If you call him, tell him what you're trying to make dies for, he will walk you through which size you need and all that kind of stuff. But what I am doing is I am building two sizing dies and a seating die. I'm sorry, two seating dies and one sizing die. And so I have two seating blanks and one sizing blank, okay? And so when you order these, you cannot buy ready-to-go dies from Newlon. He only sells blanks. So you will have to either do it yourself if you machine your own barrels and stuff like that and have a lathe, or have your gunsmith do it for you. He will not make any dies for you. But he makes incredible blanks. So he uses Mitutoyo dials at the top here. And you can see, so this is a 7 mil blank, and it will get reamed out. And this is the exact same thing here. And then my sizing blank is the same. And this is a bushing sizing die. You can order bushingless sizing dies and have your gunsmith obviously cut it accordingly as well. I happen to like using bushings, so that's just that. One of the things I really like about the way Newlon makes his, there are some dies for sizing that when you use a bushing, you have to have the decapping stem in some capacity in there. And I really hate that, because I hate decapping on my sizing die, and I don't like having anything in there that I don't have to. So the way Newlons work, and I'll show you when I get these all set up afterwards as well, but for my Newlon here, I can pull out the whole decapping stem, and now I have this, and the way it's designed, it still holds the bushing in place properly. Okay, so that's how I'll run it, and then obviously I'll use a different die, because I don't use this kind of die ring. But I'm going to take these off and get them cut. As far as the seating die goes, this is again just incredibly high caliber of machining involved. The Mitutoyo dial on it, and I have found that in the dies I've used with these, the accuracy is just incredible in terms of saying, okay, 1,000ths, 2,000ths, 3,000ths, 4,000ths, when I'm making adjustments for like a seating depth test or something like that. Not only that, not spring loaded in any way. There's no barrel down the inside, any kind of guide. I really like that. This is going to get reamed out to my exact chamber reamer, so it's going to fit perfectly. And I don't have to worry about any of that weird spring stuff hanging down, or, like, I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. And there's plenty of people that like it. I'm just not one of them. So I'm very excited to get back to this. I wanted to show you what these looked like before my gunsmith gets a hold of them. And you're going to see here in a second what they look like when they're done. The reality is I'm going to be handing these off in about 5 days to my gunsmith. It's going to take him another week or two to do them. So I won't have them back for probably at least 3 weeks would be my guess. For you, it's going to be just momentarily. So I'm going to wait 3 weeks. If you can wait just a second, here's what they look like when they're done. And this is what the finished product looks like. So I did have 3. One of the seating dies is already on my zero press, so I just thought I would show you these two. What we have is we have the sizing die here, which is finished. I don't have it installed yet. Now, one thing that I didn't talk about is I'm not a big fan of these kinds of lock rings. I don't like these ones that have like the little lead shot in here, and then you've got a kind of a perpendicular lock to it. I'm a much bigger fan of these clamping style, like the Forster or the Hornady, where they, you know, grab around the entire ring. I don't honestly know that it's better, but I just find that I feel more confident with these, so I do switch them out. But this is my seating die. You can see it's got that Mitutoyo gauge still, and it does have individual stems inside that you can change. So if I wanted to switch out, you take this apart, and you can put in like a VLD stem or a standard stem. Mine happens to be the VLD stem. And then I know there's even people who will bed their stem for a particular bullet. I just haven't done that. But once your gunsmith reams this out, it should be nice and clean. It's got a nice little bevel in there, and you are ready to go. I just am a really big fan of these. I think they work great. I feel confident with them. You know, compared to, in fact, here's, so like here's this is a Whitten, and you know, has a micrometer on it, and that's great, but I'm not a huge fan of these spring-loaded guides. It's just a personal thing for me. I know some people like them. I just don't care for them. I like how these are very simple, and one of the reasons is that you know, especially if I'm using something like I've got my Lee hand loader here. Let me back out just a little bit for you here, but I've got my Lee hand loader, and this is what I take to matches now, and I've been doing this for a little while, and I've been really happy with it. And this die came out of this one, but it just sits in here. And because it is, it doesn't have the spring-loaded or anything like that, it doesn't take up as much real estate in here. I did have this one mounted in here for a while, and you always have, you know, more of that collet sticking down. So with this, it's just fixed, which is great. That's what I want. As far as the sizing goes, this is a bushing die. You can get one that you could, if you have a sizing reamer that would prevent you from using bushings, you could do that as well. This one is designed for bushings because I prefer to use bushings. It does, of course, have your obligatory decapper on it here. And you can take it off if you like. You just take off that knurl nut and just unthread this. And so you can just use it straight with the bushing, and you know, just like that, and you're good to go. So again, just make sure that if you're doing this does require two separate reamers. I know I've said it before, but your seating die is going to use your finish reamer, same thing that your chamber uses. The sizing die does require a sizing reamer. Any good, competent reamer manufacturer will know how to do that for you. I happen to use JGS, and you can either send them a reamer print if they don't have your reamer print. In my case, literally you just say, take this reamer and turn it into a sizing reamer, and they would do that for me, and that's how you get that milled out. So that's just a quick example of how I get custom dies made. I've done quite a few Newlons over time, and again, just really, really like them. So there you go. Hope that helps. You guys have a good one. We'll talk later.